Now look at what it says in verse 3 here. Lay down now and put me in surety with thee. There's several things going down here, but it's kind of like Job saying, come here, sit down at this table. Let's put our cards down on the table. A surety is like a bond. That's kind of like I'm good for my word. I've got something to back up my word. I got some surety. He said, let me put my surety, because my surety is just as good as your surety, these three friends. And so y'all come down here at a table. Who will strike hands with me? Who's going to make a deal with me? Let's make a deal. Let's go ahead and hash this thing out. It's kind of like the Lord said, you go ahead and bring what you're sure of, and I'll bring what I'm sure of. And let's strike a deal. That's what man's supposed to be doing with God. I mean, you bring whatever argument you got, whatever the best things that you know, things that you want to stand on, and come to Christ and let him bring what he's sure of. He's sure that you're not going to do too well with sin on you. And he's sure that his blood can wash away your sin. Now, you going to sit down at the table and strike hands with him and make a deal? And you know what? I think it's funny that this Bible has got this language, it just puts these words in. Lay down now. I don't think that's happenstance. I think the Lord went down lower than the angels, right? Humbled himself, fashioned himself as a man. And obviously, he had to go down below the lowest man to pay for their sin. And you imagine, in order for you to get down there where the Lord is and see him where he's at, you're going to have to lay down. Lay down now. You're going to have to humble yourself. You're going to have to get down there where he went. And you know what? Strike a deal with him. You're going to have to do it somewhere. That's kind of like what God's looking for. You think it wasn't good? Being who he was willing to go down there? Don't you know? A man that's too proud that he can't get down there with the Lord and say, Lord, I'm just as bad as that guy down there on the bottom. I like Paul. Paul says, you know what? None of them guys taught me on being a sinner. I took the crown on that. I'm willing to say that I'm the worst one. I'm the chief of it. That's Paul. You know why? I think Paul felt that way because he got a better look at God. The closer you get to the Lord and the more you see him for who he is, the more you see yourself as a sinner, and you will never lift up your head in pride and thinking you're anything. Because honestly, everything you got that's got to do with God that's going to last in eternity, all of it came from him anyway. What right does a man have to brag about anything that shows up in eternity? That none of that came about of their own doing. Even their works of righteousness was done by Christ working in you. So isn't that a strange thing? Doesn't man just like to put his name on everything? That stuff just gets old after a while.